platform. The pup's a little bit behind me, and I'm hoping at some point when Clay's talking over there that I'm able to go and grab the puppy and have her make a little guest appearance because everybody's here for her, not for me, right? Um, but to give you some background on Zach, on me, so I live in San Francisco. I work for a really large biopharma company out in the Bay Area. I've been doing that for about a year and a half, but going back into my life, I had started a healthcare reimbursement company that I ran for 4 years, and recently went to business school. And kind of the way that I've used BitClout since I joined, which I joined at the end of March, and it's only been 3 months, but I feel like such a seasoned veteran to where I'm able to give other people knowledge, which for only being here 3 months, like it's just wild how BitCloud time works, right? Um, but the way that I've kind of used this platform, and it's what inspired me to do Doodles Academy, is when you're in business school, like you have six-week classes, you don't actually learn like a deep knowledge of any kind of subject. I say that you don't become a subject matter expert on anything except being an overconfident person that tells people they're a subject matter expert in everything. Um, and so, but by only having a very top level business knowledge of a variety of different subjects, you're able to, one, apply those to a variety of different concepts. But two, you're also able to explain it pretty well because you don't have the deep technical knowledge that could confuse others because you don't know it yourself either. So I've been applying that on the platform, and I had to give a one-liner on what is the Doodles brand. And you could agree or disagree, but it's kind of how I summarize my brand, and it's kind of what I thrive for every day, is that I try to provide business insights and community building activities in the voice of puppy positivity.
So do you think that your business experience essentially played a huge role in what drew you to what you've done on BitClout so far?
I do believe so. And that's from both the investing perspective as well as from a creator perspective. And honestly, from doing well on the investing perspective, it's also allowed me to be able to reinvest both into my coin, but also into different community building activities that have allowed others to grow. But by allowing others to grow, it's also been beneficial to myself as well, because it's been able to fund my different community building activities. So as an investor, different ways that it's been able to impact is just having the knowledge of diversification of your assets, being able to think about venture investing, where you kind of have to have the knowledge that you invest in 10 different people, 10 different creators, you're probably going to lose money, if not all of your money, on at least half of those. And so you need to make sure that of those 10, you're looking for 2 home runs, and those 2 home runs will pay for the rest of them plus extra. So that's another way that there's been benefits on the investor side. On the creator side, you can look at it from growth marketing techniques. You can look at it from having different kinds of engagement metrics that you're trying to thrive for. And one of the things that I think that I've learned a lot from the MBA background is really just giving you the confidence to knock on doors. And that's one of the things that I've really done pretty consistently since I joined, is I've been reaching out to others to schedule phone calls, getting to know people one-on-one, seeing how we can have a mutually beneficial relationship on this platform and grow together. And the law of reciprocity, I mean, it goes so far in life, goes so far on BitClout, and different kinds of relationship aspects like that. Once you're able to really understand that and understand the value that you're able to bring to others, and also the kinds of opportunities that others can give to you, and finding that mutual benefit, it's really done well for me. And honestly, I mean, BitClout has been so great for me, and I do have finances on here. And if I lost my finances tomorrow, I would cry. I mean, I would be very upset about that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, the relationships that I've been able to make on here, that's what's changed my life. not the financing, but I know that if BitClout wasn't here tomorrow, the people that I've met are going to still be here. And, I'm so excited, and we're just getting started. And so I'm really excited about these relationships. I'm looking forward to spending hopefully years, the next decade, continuing to go and build these relationships, to continue to nurture them, develop them, and make these really impactful ones. I cannot wait for the first BitClout wedding.
I mean, as we all know, we might eventually end up seeing that from two of our greatest friends. So
we don't need to name it. We don't need to name them.
We're not going to name
names. At them in the group.
We're all paying attention. Clay, so Doodles told us a lot about his background and how like investing was a big part to, he's done business manager work before he became a BitClout user. Would you say that for you, you were more of a creator or an investor when you joined the platform? And how much do you think that matters when you're trying to grow on the platform?
Yeah, I was definitely more geared towards the creator side. I'm coming from like a design background, and essentially I saw this platform and I thought, based on past experiences, with TikTok or Vine or like these ones that kind of come up really quick, and famous people or influencers, as they're called, come out of those type of platforms, because when something grows that fast, you have a content disparity where you have so little people, but the content, as you notice on BitClout, like you're seen, no matter who you are, what you're following is, you're going to get seen at some point, because there's just such a small pool of people. So I thought, hey, this BitClout thing is another platform. It could be like, these other platforms that are coming up very quickly. I'm going to get on it and I'm going to try to make a brand. My brand was more so going to be around design and technology and things like that, fintech. But, I got on here and I got into everything that was not business-like. I started playing the Lewis games and got addicted. That's where I met Zach and like a bunch of other people on this call. And like, we were killing it. We were raking in the prizes, and we got really good at puzzles. And I never thought I would be playing puzzles, and making more than my day job doing so. So it's like Zach and Zopal and, some other people in like the Discord group that we started for this Lewis game were the people that kind of got me involved. So Zach was heavy into investing, same with Zopal. And, Zopal got me into like reading blockchain and getting into tools and all that. And it really wasn't my intention when joining this platform is to use it as investing. I put, like $140 or something into my own coin, and eventually I OTC'd some, couple $100, and then, I kept adding it because, we were so bullish and we saw the arbitrage, buying BitClout at $90 or something, and then you instantly have a 33% return when it hits the platform. And now with the exchange, it's like, that's almost a hard lock. You're not going to go, you could go back, but in a way, like we as early adopters were getting that appreciation, but we were really putting money on the platform because we wanted to trade. We wanted to, take advantage of the bonding curve and new people joining. And we talk a lot about trading. I learned probably more about trading from Zach than anyone on the platform. He's always, saying, hey, this is a new person. I talked to them on Instagram, and his approach is really interesting, where I'm coming from, a lot of those outside conversations I'm having the conversations on platform and then making those decisions. And, if you see me go into a trade based on a signal that I don't know the person, you're probably going to lose money if you follow me on that trade, because it's just guessing games at that point. But no, I definitely came in as a creator, and, it started evolving. I got involved with a team called Insider Clout and BitClout Express, which is a Telegram signal bot. And that kind of led me more into trading because I had the tool sets to do so, and led more into success. And really my greatest investments are obviously in the people in this call, because, meeting people early when they come into the call and, saying, hey, I'm going to invest in you because you're a person. I don't necessarily know what you're about yet, but, anyone that's in this call and has been consistently in this call, like I believe everyone is, over $1,000 coin. And so it's like, those are the ones over the long term. The active creators are the people that are going to be the biggest wins. There's always, opportunity to trade and get growth on the bonding curve. But I mean, Zach and I probably have the same opinion, is like you usually sell out of those pretty quickly. You know, in retrospect, in the future, you might say, oh, I shouldn't have got out of this famous person because they're actually using the platform. But in reality, like all of my long holds are people that I know, and projects as well. Yeah, that's kind of my perspective.
So what would you say to people that believe that you have to be an influencer on another platform to really succeed here? Do you think that there's any truth to that at all? Or do you think that anyone here, because it's so early on, can basically become an influencer? This question is for both of you, Clay and Zach.
So my quickest response to that is, if you look up Doodles on Twitter, it's an OnlyFans thing.
So what do you got to say?
Yeah, so Doodles is native to BitClout.
Is this an announcement?
It's actually kind of crazy when the story about it is, so when I joined BitClout, I think it was March 24th. It was the first day that you could join. Like the first day was open to the public, right? Where they didn't have a password. And I said, you know, I wasn't able to get on Twitter on the first day. I wasn't able to get on Instagram on the first day. So I've been Zach Brenner on each of those platforms. You can search Zach Brenner. That's what I am everywhere. I was like, I'm here on day one. I'm going to be Zach. I was like, when BitClout is worth a ton years from now, I'll have that 4-letter name. It's going to be fantastic. And so I searched Zach. It's taken. So I said, okay, I'll do the next best thing. I'll be my dog. And y'all are going to hate what I'm about to say, but I searched my dog's name, Nala. It was taken. And so that doesn't leave here. That doesn't leave
what?
Here.
What? Oh no, it just left here. They left here on the live stream. Everyone's gonna know that now. You're here.
And so Nala is she's a golden doodle, and so I call her Doodle all the time. So like, you know, people call golden doodles Doodles, and so I call her over, like, I don't know if everybody has a golden doodle, but they have a way that they lay on their back where like their feet and their arms are directly up in the air. And so whenever she does that, I'm like, Doodle, Doodle, Doodle. And so I use the name Doodle, and I was like, all right, great, Doodle's here. And then when I just thought about it, it was kind of like, you know, when they talk about the story of the Facebook on how they eliminated the I just had a moment where I was like, it just sounds better with an S instead of calling her Doodle like how I normally do. And so adding an S, now she's Doodles. I think I'm gonna probably change her name to that at this point. I call her Doodles more often than I call her Nala at this point.
That's first of all incredible that we now know the real name behind this awesome influencer on BitClout. Clay, can you tell us now what your opinion is of that moniker? The concept of an influencer being important or not on the platform.
Yeah, I would say like influencer is something that we use so often in other platforms, and it exists. The term in general was, you know, coined probably on Instagram, but in general, like an influencer is someone with influence, right? So we all have influence, but you know, some people have more influence than others, and the influence depends on what audience that they're influencing, right? So if you're really good at basketball, you're going to influence basketball fans, but the soccer fans probably aren't going to care what you're doing. So I think we all have kind of our categorization of where we will influence in the future of BitClout. I think currently we're all pooled together. All of our content is together, and you know, we're seeing each other on the level of friends where, you know, we may have similarities, but most of us are in different career aspects, are in different interests, and you know, we see each other as our personal selves, but the content may reflect our interests. I feel those interests in the future will be more searchable. When the platform grows, they'll be more scalable, and people will identify as influencers in their categories. As far as general influencer, movie stars, athlete, those type of people that arise and are seen in the public media eye as influencers, I think it will be a smaller amount of people. Maybe the people that, you know, are going the generalist route, they don't necessarily have a content focus, but they get in the right circles, and you know, they're able to effectively transition their influence to another platform and grow in that way. You know, people that how many people on BitCloud are building an email list? Probably not a lot. But if you can control your audience and control the eyeballs that are viewing your content, those people can move with you no matter what the platform is. So if something else grows out and it's separate from this blockchain, you have those people that you can easily hit up and say, hey, guess what? I'm over here. Come over here. It'll be worth your while. So I think from a strategic standpoint, there's a lot of things that we're doing on this platform that work really well on this platform. But as far as general influence, we will see some influencers, the top 10, you've already seen, it happen. How many people knew, these people in the top 10 before they came on BitClout, but now the names, they stick out, who they are. You may have looked into their background. You may have met them in person. So anytime that they're mentioned in the public eye, those people are now influencers, and they're not just, marketing influencers. They're not just investor VC influencers. They're general popular influencers. We see them for them and their personal lives. And I think Doodles is a good example of someone that has come from a business background and he's created a fun brand. He's amazing at branding. He's amazing at, content production and being able to stay consistent. And, we see multitudes of like benefit to that across platform, because imagine the next platform comes up, or BitClout turns into something else. You have all this equity in the brand, and that's really valuable because people can relate to brands very easily compared to people. For me, I'm Clay Oglesby, so I'm using my birth name, so it's a little different. Maybe in the LinkedIn space, I can use that to influence that type of audience or speaking events, things like that. But I don't think, for me personally, even if I become very popular on this platform, I think I'm still relatively unpopular. But I think even if I did become very popular, it wouldn't transition to, the traditional influencer terms, but I may be able to go in the design community and, influence that audience.
I do have, I have one other thing to add to what I was saying before, because I kind of got sidetracked by my story. Well, also, before I say that, I'm really interested, Clay, in seeing which of your personas, whether it's Clay Oglesby or Clayo, that's going to be the big influencer of Clay. Because it's probably going to be both. They're probably going to be both. But it'll be interesting to see if one becomes like the big influencer and takes over the other. And it's something that I consciously watch for. But to go back to answer your question, Chet, the way that I had started answering that is I do think that there's going to be many influencers that are based off of this platform. And that's why I had brought up that Doodles was new to this. And, we're still such a young platform. It's hard to know who's going to be the influencers. Going from a community of 10,000 daily active users to 1 million daily active users, it's a significant leap. And so it's hard to know who's going to be the influencers at that point, where it does kind of branch off away from BitClout. But the thing is, it's going to exist. And because this is a new platform, a new novel platform, there's people, we're so early, there's going to be people here today that are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And so if you look at other platforms, like if you go to Instagram, the influencers on Instagram are the ones that know how to Photoshop their asses the best, right? You go to TikTok, and the influencers there are the ones that know how to shake their asses the best. You go to Twitter, and divisiveness is the winner. The more outrage you can get somebody, the better you're going to do on there. And none of those are what's working on BitClout right now, especially the divisiveness part. We're all about community, and hopefully it's going to stay that way. And so when I think about different ways that like what the winners are going to be like on BitClout in regards to influencers, this is such a more strategic platform than anything else that has ever existed in the social media space. And so we're kind of living with everybody being tokenized. We're kind of living in a virtual casino, a casino that hasn't existed before. So I think that gamification and understanding gamification is huge. I think that understanding game theory, that goes back to the relationship aspect that I was discussing before. I think that that's going to come into it as well. And I really do think that having strategies around gamification, game theory, persuasion, influence, and And a lot of those types of concepts, the people that are able to apply that to their brands are going to be the ones that do have more of a strategic long-term competitive advantage and will be able to develop brands. And yeah, it's just exciting to see that like I think that there's going to be a lot more strategy in this platform to be the influencers than there are in others. And because of that, there's going to be so many new influencers from this platform. And the people that are here right now are freaking
Do you think
smart.
it takes more work? Do you think it takes more work on this platform versus other platforms to become an influencer? Do you think it takes more time and dedication?
So Chet, I wish that I could answer that to you, but it would be an uneducated answer because I'm not an influencer anywhere else. I don't know if I'm, this is a smaller community. I don't want to call myself an influencer here, but I do. I'm not an influencer elsewhere. And so I can't answer that. And to be honest, so much of it just seems so natural here because the community is so accepting. Like I'm not doing things for work. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. It's fun. And so it's kind of hard for me to describe that. And so yeah, maybe Clay will have a better answer. I'm looking to see whether there are any kind of influencers in here to where I could pass the mic over to them because they might know more about the other platforms than myself.
What do you think, Clay?
Yeah, I echo that. Not an influencer anywhere, not even close. But this is pretty much the main platform, if not the only platform I use regularly. And I would say in general, since there is such a small user pool, you look at the followers. So I mean, people in the chat are saying, oh, Doodles is definitely an influencer. You look at 10K active users, you go to Doodles' profile and he has almost 5K. That's 50% of the user base. That's absurd if it's on Instagram. That's above Kylie Jenner, like it's crazy when you look at the percentages over numbers. And when this thing blows up, if we do get to 1 million active users, we already have 1 million users. Most of them are bots. But once we get to active user counts, our followings are going to be dwarfed. And the people that are coming new to the platform that have influence on other platforms, they're going to be able to gain followers quicker than us in the beginning. But the thing is, with the followers in the beginning, majority of those are, relatively real people. Let's not lie to ourselves, inflate our followings. A lot of them are bots, but most of these are real people and they actually care about you as a person and they care about your content. And they really, we call those like hot leads. They're strong. Like if you put something out, they would buy it. If you do something, if you plan an event, they would go. These are very warm leads and people that, in itself, you could, I forgot who it is, but it's like the rule of 100 or like the monetization of like 1,000 people, where if 1,000 people gave you $100 a day, that's 6 figures that you can live on. And how to productize. We've seen the models that have been integrated with BitClout, the monetization models, and people just use those. But we're not seeing a lot of people use traditional monetization models and transferring their influence to other platforms, because really the people with influence on other platforms, they can do all they want to bring people to this platform. But we can't say the same as organic, BitClout influencers. We can't necessarily, we can, but it's not going to be a lot of people that we're going to grow on a different platform. So it is a little bit of a difference. But I think once people, if Zach were to start a YouTube channel or something, and he did forms like this, where he said, hey, this is how I do it, this is how I trade, that would be really essential to people on BitClout. But if he does videos from his MBA background, not just BitClout people are going to watch that. So he's combining audiences now, and he's creating the strength from multiple platforms. And I think that's where we're really going to see people, step out of just BitClout and become influencers in a way. And then on the monetization standpoint, I think those people of influence are going to, start to use other models, affiliate marketing, sponsorships. It goes across the board of what type of models they can bring that are outside of the BitClout revenue model.
What do you think is more important? This is questions for both of you. We're talking about growing your presence. Do you think that building the follower count is what you should focus on as a new creator? Or do you think that focusing on ways to strategize a creator coin is the right way to start out? And why?
I know we're going to say the same thing. So Zach, if you want to shoot first, I'm sure we have.
I can say my answer, and then Clay, you can talk about it in detail.
All right.
It's getting followers, it's engagement, and coin price will follow. That should absolutely not be what you optimize for. You know, essentially, coin prices, if BitClout becomes a thing, which all of us think it will, anybody that's spending their time in a forum right now is spending a lot of time working on this, and so we all think that there's going to be a lot of success in the future. And so what this looks like a year from now, coin prices are a fraction of where it'll be a year from now. Just the amount of new capital that'll come on with new people coming on, it's a minuscule fraction of it. And so I don't think you should optimize for coin price whatsoever. Building engagement, people like you, people will relate to you, and the coin price will follow. And whatever that looks like in the future, because I'll pass it over to Clay, because I'll probably answer I'm probably about to dive into a different concept that you'll probably ask us a question on later. So yes, engagement is what matters. Forget about coin price.
Yeah, 100%. Basically, the structure of BitClout in itself follows Twitter, which is a chronological timeline. So you don't actually have the archivable content. So you're following people as they live their lives, as they post their content. It's very event specific. That being said, if you have people in that moment of the event to see your content, it's going to be, it's going to have an impact on those people. But the people in the future, that aren't following you or whatnot, eventually it's going to be archivable, and that content's going to be found, and it's going to lead to more followers. But coin price, I've kind of had the opinion about it ever since the first person that sold, a significant amount of my coin. It was a bot that bought $4 of my coin, and they ended up making $800 or something, and they sold out $800, and my coin plummeted. And it was the first time. I've never had haters on the internet really too much, where they have negative comments, but that's what it felt like. It felt like I had a hater, and they left a soul-wrenching comment. And at that moment, I said, this is stupid. Why am I even considering this? So I think that's a necessity for everyone to have a big sale, to detach themselves from their coin price. But, it is something that you have to practice, and it's something that is purpose. It's money, so it has dopamine connected to it, and it's purposely designed that way. This platform is purposely designed that way. And so essentially after that happened, I kind of had the opinion of, well, the social framework that's been designed for the dark pattern in the UI that says, hey, you sure you want to sell this coin? You're going to notify 300 people. Like, that's scary. But that notification doesn't ever hit your inbox or anyone else's inbox. It's just it's a dark pattern. It's creating a psychological pattern, and it's intentional. They would have fixed it if it was a bug. So essentially, your coin price, they don't want you to sell. That was intentional. So it's like, if I can't sell that coin, that's never going to benefit me. The only way it's going to benefit me is, at this point in time, coin price is used as a hierarchy. If you do a search, coin price at the top. If you do a comment, coin price at the top. It's not chronological. So that's the only time it breaks the pattern of chronological. And, that's a benefit, but it's also a benefit anyone can buy. If any of you remember, like, the person 021 that entered the platform, and he just, whaled in 1.5 mil into his own coin, he hit top 10 instantly. And people look at coin price as if they did something good for the world to deserve that money. But the reality is, we don't know how anyone got that money. It could be the drug cartel. It could be whatever. But just because you have a high coin price doesn't mean you have influence. It doesn't mean you deserve, that coin price or anything. But a follower count, someone had to interact. Someone else other than you had to decide, hey, I want to click. I want to see this content daily. I want to see what this person has in the future. Anyone can buy and sell a coin. I don't think it means much. And I think we support each other through coin price, but majority of people are, investing. They want to see a return on you. And the reality of the situation is, to actualize a return, you need to sell.
So how can we change that perspective that I think you all would agree, as people probably have when they look at the platform, that those with the highest coin prices are those that are the most successful? What ways do you look at it, trying to get that word out, that realistically it's engagement, realistically it's following, it's what you're adding to it, that's what you have to look for? What are your thoughts on that? And that question's for both of you again.
So I don't know. I think this just kind of goes into our question a little bit deeper. So coin price is absolutely a signal, and because there is a dollar sign, by human nature, that's going to be a signal going forward. There's not going to be anything that changes on that, and I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. I don't think it's necessarily right. That is just how it is. But if you're optimizing for something, I do think that if you optimize for people, so if you have more followers are going to see what you're saying every day, right? And the more often that somebody sees you, the more often they're going to relate to what you say, and the more likely that there's going to be a chance that they end up reclouding you, which then ends up getting your message spread more, which then they're able to see this, then can recloud it, and eventually it's going to hit an investor. And so the more
they're almost
people you're able to
correlated.
get in front of, especially right now, you'll end up seeing dividends from that, especially in the future. And honestly, Chet, one of the things that I look at when I'm investing in someone, especially if they're, at the emerging creator level of the bonding curve, somebody that's kind of newer to the platform or has a smaller coin price, is if I see that there's a huge mismatch between the number of followers that they have and coin price. So like, let's say somebody has 1,000 followers, but only $100 coin price, I will always invest in that person. And so if there's anybody in the audience that feels like their metrics are like that, definitely DM me, because I do feel like it's only a matter of time before the coin price catches up. To give anecdotal reference, I think I was at 2,000 followers with a $200 coin price or something. And I was telling people privately, in my life, was like, hey, you might want to invest in me pretty soon. Like my message is getting spread pretty fast. I'm getting a following pretty quickly. It's only going to be a matter of time before the coin price follows. And, that was at $200. So people that did follow that advice have gotten pretty good returns. And for future investors, that's not a financial advice, but I do continue to focus on these engagement metrics, and it's allowed my coin price to follow suit.
I agree with what you're saying there too. And like Ed and I have always focused on like getting a following, and just don't worry about the coin price. If you have a following and you're engaging with people, it's gonna catch up to where it deserves to be, I think.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad to see you here, Brian, as well. If you would, as we're recording right now, introduce yourself as well, along with Doodles and Clay, and say, what is it that brought you to the platform, and the first thought that you would have to tell someone about how to grow their coin. And
first of all, nice to see you, Chet. It's always nice to see you. What brought us to the platform was just, we were so into social media on Twitter, and we've been in Bitcoin since 2012, and BitClout was like the perfect combination of the two. And we saw it as an opening where we could maybe help influence the platform, since it's such an early stage platform. And what was the second question? Sorry.
What is the first piece of advice you would give to a new user on the platform on how to grow?
Yeah, I would say just engage with other people. Comment on other people and help them. Don't just go and comment and say hi or hey, look at me. Give them feedback, give them insight, answer questions, provide value, and I think you'll get value back in the long run.
That's an excellent answer. So this question is going to be for all three of you. Where did you start out? How much money did you put in the platform at first? And where are you at now? Where's your coin price at now? Where's your follower count? And how did you specifically get there? Doodles has partially answered this, Clay has as well, but Brian, I think you have more probably the answer on that as well. So.
Just for can you clarify exactly what you're looking for from us?
Yes, like what did you start out with?
Metrics.
How much capital did you put into this platform? Right? How much risk did you put in out of what you have? And why? And then how did you get it to where it's at now? Yeah.
I mean, everything's on the blockchain, so I mean, I'll answer. So on the first day, I threw in $3,000, and essentially the way that I found BitClout was I saw on Twitter, honestly, and you know how we talked about Twitter being divisive, and that's being what kind of like gets people to be influencers on there. What I saw about BitClout on Twitter was that 50% of the VCs or tech people or whatever you want to call it that I was following on there were saying that this was going to be the next best thing, that this was the best thing since sliced bread. And the other 50% of the people were saying this is the biggest scam that's ever existed and they're trying to steal your Bitcoin. And so anytime that there's something that divisive with people that I really respect talking about it, I said, "Ooh, this looks fun." And so I threw in some capital, enough to where I would consider it an investment, enough to where I wouldn't want to lose it, but it was something to where if I lost it, then I'd still be able to pay my bills, right? And the funny story about that, Chet, is 5 minutes after I deposited that, and remember, I had just been reading dozens of reviews talking about how this was a literal scam. 5 minutes after I deposited that, that was the day where this site went down for 12 hours, and there was just a black screen with a red message that said, "Don't worry, your funds are safe." And so I was like, really? I thought I was at least going to Vegas with this. I was like, I thought I was going to at least be able to trade like Elon Musk coin for a couple days or something. You've got to be kidding me. And you know, since that's happened, I have put more money into the platform. And you know, I'm very thankful that after 12 hours things reversed, because you know, this has been where I'm spending so much of my time, and I'm loving every single minute of it. Is there anything else on this topic that I'm supposed to answer?
Did you risk more than you were willing to lose?
No.
Okay.
And I wouldn't advise even at this stage, I wouldn't advise anybody to risk anything more than they're willing to lose.
Yeah, definitely. Never, especially with something that I know, just Doodles and I being in similar Discord since I joined. I know was a little late to the curve. I joined mid-April, but we've always said, you know, this thing has a 2% chance of success, but if that, in that case of that 2%, this is going to 100x. And so, you know, whatever you put in, and those are Zach words, not mine, but whatever you put in, like, think about that 100xing. It may be worth the 98% risk. I think we're a little bit out of that category now, but you know, this is still in its infancy, and anything with finances, you should be extremely careful not to risk what you need to live, to pay your mortgage, to pay your bills, to do anything that you need to sustainably, you know, live in society. So if anyone is doing that, I would, you know, highly recommend to, you know, reevaluate your position. I'm one of the most bullish people on BitClout, and I'm still speculative of how much I put into here. To start out, I put in a couple $100 or something. You know, didn't really know what it was. I bought it with Bitcoin through the interface and was like, whoa, they charged me $50 in fees. What the heck? Maybe this is a scam, like people are saying. So I put in, you know, 140 or something into my own coin and had a couple, you know, 50 to $100 or something to play around with. And I started, essentially my first idea of a post was, hey, I'm going to go to my private growth marketing Facebook group and I'm going to copy my posts and post them here. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's 280 character limit. These posts are like 10,000 characters. Like, that's not going to work out. So I started to slowly realize the content was different, and once I, got a hang of it a little bit more and started investing, that's when I started and found OTC. That's when I started OTCing a couple, and I haven't put more than 5,000, probably like a little under 5,000 into the platform. So.
And Brian?
Yeah, I put about 15 million in to start off. And no, I'm just kidding. I think I probably started off maybe with like 1,000, and then gradually, I think as I gained more and more confidence, we did a week where we invested 15,000 into our own coin, and after that, I think we maybe put in another 15,000 to buy other creators. I think it was important from the very start not to put in money that you can't afford to lose. From the very start, when the day I found it, I was pretty confident in it just because I knew who was behind it. I knew who the venture capitalists were behind it. And I've been following all these venture capitalists, whether it was Sequoia or whether it was Social Capital and Jamaat. And I knew they're serious. They don't just jump into something that they think is a scam. So I was confident. I felt like, hey, I kind of have a leg up because everybody's calling it a scam. And I know it's not going to be a scam. Whether it's going to work out or not, that's one thing. But you can kind of throw the scam thing out of the window because clearly it's not. I think still, like Doodles said, I think people need to still be cautious. We still don't know what's going to happen. The SEC, I'm sure there's going to be issues there. I mean, there's so much going on, whether there's the games that are happening or whether it's like mutual funds that are popping up, that I think there's just going to be a lot that they're going to probably try and get control of. But that's not going to mean that the platform's going to cease to exist. It's just going to adopt new ways of doing things, and there will be regulations, I think, eventually. But I think that like Clay said, I think that there's a chance that it could 100x or even 500x in the really long run. So it's risk versus reward. So I mean, you put 10 grand in, you can only lose 10 grand, but you could literally make 50 million if you really stuck with it. So maybe it's not 50 million, 5 million, I guess, but
500.
but yeah, I mean, like it's a unequal like playing field. So I mean, if you want to take a chance, it's worth taking the chance. Will it go 500x? I'd say it's probably a slim chance in any time in the near future, but there's definitely a chance that this could go mainstream, and there's so much happening that I think that I'm pretty confident that it's definitely going to go up from here. But that's not an investment advice, so be careful.
So yeah, I think about it the same way as Clay and Brian, to where this is obviously not financial advice, and definitely don't put anything you can't afford to lose. But having a 2% probability of getting a 500 to 1,000x return is something that you might not ever have again in your life. Like it seems like only 2%, like that's small, but the expected value of that is so significant, to where if this does happen, I mean, this is very much life-changing money that we have that opportunity for. And so I'll take those odds any day of the week. Asymmetric risk, fantastic. But also, like what Brian had said, that's a 2% probability of 500x, right? So I mean, that's the very bullish case scenario. But if you look at this from like a catalyst perspective, in the very least, the short to medium term, so let's call it a 1-year perspective, there's many more positive things that could happen than negative things. We're not going to go down significantly less than 10,000 daily active users, right? We're not on enough, we're only on one exchange that we're barely on. So we're not going to lose exchanges. We can just add users, we add exchanges, stuff like that. And so in the short to medium term, I am so bullish on growth, whether that's 5x, 10x, like that's going to be significantly higher odds than the 2% at 500x. But if you put all these probabilities together, being an investor now, this is an opportunity that you're not going to see very many times in your life. And so I know that I'm definitely doing whatever I can to capitalize on this moment. And the best part about this kind of investing opportunity is that it's also fun while we're in this moment too. And so really thankful that I was able to find this, even if I had to go to Twitter to find it and deal with that divisiveness.
Right. And that brings me to a question that I want to ask Brian. Brian, you and Ed were, I asked Clay and Zach about the importance of influencers here on BitCloud. And you were easily, influencers on Twitter. So a two-part question. And that is, what do you consider to be the importance of influencers, prior influencers, should I say, to BitCloud versus how easy it is to become one here? And what were you able to take from your experience of growth on a platform like Twitter? And how did you utilize that here?
Yeah, so I think that our 3 or 4 years or whatever we were like successful on Twitter. Well, maybe some people don't think we were successful, but I think we actually learned a lot about how to interact with people, what to say and to not say, and how to make sure you don't cause too much controversy. Like it was tough on Twitter, especially in political Twitter. Like if you said, like we were left leaning, and if you said one thing that was wrong, like you'd have either side attack you. I mean, we had the left attack us for saying something. We of course have the right attack us. So like it was like towing the middle, I guess, but like you didn't want to offend the people following you more. So we were left leaning. So it was like you kind of built it becomes an echo chamber, and that's what we didn't like. So like you kind of have to go along with your main. So like we had to go along with like the left leaning philosophy, even if we wanted to say, hey, that Trump did something great, and we wanted to say that, which we did, which we would do, it would blow back, and we'd get attacked by those on the left. And then you go back to criticizing Trump, and of course you have all the people on the right. So it was frustrating. So we kind of learned how to deal with that. We learned how to engage. I think that's why we were successful on Twitter. We kind of figured out not Twitter's algorithm, but how their algorithm worked, and we used that to our advantage on like how to get followers and how to get retweets and likes and all that. So like coming over here, like we kind of took those philosophies, but it was now a positive thing all around. So like now you don't have to worry about people attacking you for what you're saying. And right now we're mostly posting about BitCloud and like motivational stuff. And I don't think that we're going to ever switch from that. Like I'm definitely not going back to politics, that's for sure. So I think we learned a lot, and we're utilizing it here. And like I said before, like I think we joined this because we wanted to push it in a positive direction. Like we saw so much hate on Twitter, and I told some people about this, but we had bomb threats called into the local airport under our name, to local daycare facilities. We had the FBI, DHS at our home. It was just a mess. My wife was getting like followed by stalkers, people taking pictures of her at work. It was horrible. And then people threatening our kids. So I think that taught us, let's stay away from that kind of thing. Let's all do all positive, and we can actually help push BitCloud in that positive direction since it's so early. And like everybody here is going to have an influence on the way that BitCloud develops and the type of people that find BitCloud as, I guess, a home. So I think that's important. I think it's important to make sure that things don't go in that negative direction. Whether we have full control of that, I don't know. I mean, you could have a bunch of white supremacists get on here and start buying each other's coins, and that could be a mess. But I think that overall humanity's positive. More people are positive in the human race than they are negative and hateful. So I think that the coin is going to actually help bring out the true, I guess, human being of people.
That makes me think of another question here before we go to opening up the floor really quick before the interview ends. But do you think that there's ever going to be a point in time that political divisivity will have space to grow on the platform? Do you think that's a risk that, and this is for all three of you again, do you think that's a risk that we look at here in the future, or do you think it's something that we can't control?
So what was it? Whether what could? whether what
A
was
political divisivity, right?
uh,
Like how on Twitter, for instance, that became almost a platform for people to make money off of that.
I think that I think that it's going to be less likely on BitCloud, and I think that's because people are so much more careful about what they're saying, both in the sense that it's on the blockchain forever, and then also in the sense that if I start preaching hateful rhetoric, or I start like going off on somebody, it's not going to affect me in a positive way. I think that a lot of people obviously care about their coin price, whether they really should or not, I don't know. But I think that that is definitely something people think about. Hey, if I say this, I don't know, like if I start tweeting that I hate Trump, like how many of my coin holders or Trump supporters are going to sell my coin? Like I'm just using it as an example. So you don't know what people's political philosophies are, and some of them might own your coin, you might own some of their coin. So it's just, I think it's more conducive to I think like collaboration and consensus than it is hate. And I think that it allows people to talk about topics in a respectful way.
So I agree with what Brian says 100%. One of the ways that I think about this platform is I think that everybody on this platform is their own startup. There's literally a dollar sign next to your head. You have investors, you are your own startup. And by being, if you notice, most CEOs in the real world don't comment on like directly political stuff. Like, yeah, there might be some donations and stuff like that, but they don't take, it's very rare that you have very public stances from CEOs, because then their investors are going to turn on them. And there's a lot of issues that come along with that. And I think that really does apply to us, to where, yeah, you represent your different investors. And so you can't really divide them. One last thing on that before I pass it over to Clay is my anecdotal perspective. When I first joined this end of March, I joined a Clubhouse room that had Brian, Ed, and Ali Alexander. And when I saw them in a Clubhouse room together and kind of running it together too, that was one of the first times that I realized that BitCloud is different, that they were willing to be in a room together, because I thought that they would never be able to do that, judging from what I saw on Twitter. So I think that this is a community, and that is a very positive thing. And that was one of my first instincts on what this was going to become.
Can I chime in on that really fast? So yeah, so that happened, and I still, I mean, I'm still cordial with him. I disagree with a lot of what he represented and everything, but it's funny because everybody on BitCloud was like commending that. And then I went onto Twitter and started reading, I searched my name and I see how dare Krasenstein commend Ali Alexander. He recommended one of his website's clout members. Like what are these guys doing? I knew we couldn't trust them. And it was just like, what are you talking about? I mean, it's like, just because you disagree with someone politically doesn't mean you can't agree with them because they're making a cool app on a platform. It's just stupid. And that's the way Twitter is. Like you can't cross the line or people attack you, it seems. Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, I'm not on Twitter anymore for that reason, kind of, because I am very apolitical. So seeing constant political content was kind of a turnoff. But I think just based on kind of talking about curation of admins, because the content on this bitcloud.com, may be severely different than what might be on a different, very popular node in the future. And I think Twitter, does a decent job politically to not lean one way or the other. But if that does come up and whoever is controlling that node, it could lean very strongly to one side, and there's not much that the users of the node can do but go to a different node. And I think that's a benefit of being a content curator or a node admin, is it's your choice of who you curate in your audience. And I think as far as bitcloud.com, I don't think we're getting to that area just because of what we see with the content here, kind of just echoing Zach and Brian's points as well.
Uh-oh. We lost the moderator.
Oh no. I'm Chet. Hi everybody. I'm Chet. Look at me.
So I think
No
Chet was
worries.
going to open up for Q&A, and Conchi does
Yeah,
have
exactly.
control. So
Actually, I just got to jump in there,
Yeah.
Clay. Good to see you all. We have the next session with Seth Savoy starting in 2 minutes, and he's only got half an hour to be with us.
okay, I'll wrap it up then. Thanks everyone for joining. We talked about coin strategy and growing your coin. If you have any questions for any of the panelists, feel free to reach out. I'll be sticking around, so feel free to go in the chat. Otherwise, we're all available on BitClout if messages decide to work. Otherwise, you could probably reach us in other places as well. So enjoy Seth Savoy and Mark Bentley. It's gonna be a great session. I plan to stick around as well.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being
Thank
here,
you
guys.
very much.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I gotta go. So thanks again, guys.
See you, Brian.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank
Take
you.
care, Brian.
Great convo.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Hello. Sorry about that. My phone died. So I just want to thank everyone for joining in on the call as they did.
Samantha.
Brian and Zach
Samantha.
and Clay. I think that was an absolutely excellent conversation. I'm sorry, my phone died at the very last second, so I had to jump on my friend's call here. But we have to pick this up at another point in time. I think this was an absolutely excellent conversation. I think there's more to discuss on this matter. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Not Your Average and the Cloud Forum community, on behalf of Alex and everyone for coming here. And with that, we're going to be passing it over to Seth Savoy's interview. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Chet. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Clay. Thank you, Doodles, for coming and making this session awesome. And I think it was very great to discuss this topic. And it's a very great surprise to saw Brian Krasenstein joining your session. I think you'll enjoy it. You have enjoyed this session. So now we are going to the next session, which is called by Mark Bentley. He's going to interview the first director on BitClout, Seth Savoy. So I'm giving the floor to Mark Bentley.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Really appreciate it. And welcome, Seth. Welcome.
Hey, man. Good to finally meet you, dude. I feel like I know
Likewise,
you,
likewise.
but, you know, I don't.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling, man. It's funny. The BitClout really is creating the environment for this, huh? For these
It
organic
really is,
connections.
dude. Yeah.
Mm.
What I found pretty interesting, too, is that the quality of the connection is like way higher than any other platform, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Seth, before we get started, because
Yeah.
I could sit and talk to you for hours on end, and I know you got a bit of half an hour. Thanks so much for taking
Sure.
the time.
Absolutely.
What I thought was, how about we stream your trailer? So if anyone doesn't
Sure.
know, because just a bit of background to this, Seth. I remember, I think I've said to some people, when I saw you on BitClout, I saw, okay, awesome, director, doing some great work, independent director. So I thought, oh, we'll check out what he's doing. And I thought, you know, it would be interesting to see. I'm sure it's good work and everything. But when I saw your trailer, it blew me away. And then when I actually went and watched the movie, I was gobsmacked. And
Oh,
so
thank
it
you.
was, your talent is amazing. So I want to make sure everyone gets to see that now. So,
Sure.
all right, fantastic. Well, everyone, adjust your volumes as you need to. This is a pretty action-packed trailer. And we'll be back in 2 minutes once I launch this.
Economic news today, many millennials are still struggling financially.
Burnout generation, which is 1% controls more wealth now.
Baby boomers for ruining your life.
This is the next financial crisis.
Thank you for agreeing to talk with me. You will have the opportunity to tell your story. Can you give that to me?
I got a nice job. It's just a startup, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And what's the business? Throw this on before you get out.
They would steal anything of value and then just destroy the rest for fun. And Mel Donnelly is how they made money.
You add someone without asking me and bring them to my place of business?
I didn't see anything.
Oh, yeah, you did. say one word to anyone. I dare you.
Everybody knows very few people have all the wealth, and they like to keep it that way. We're not just stealing, we're sending a message.
If someone considers going off the tracks, my face will be the last thing all of you see.
You have not been honest with me.
You made the choice to make it harder for yourselves.
You don't think I have a plan? We're not here to hurt anybody, right?
I mean, that just went great.
This is the end.
What did you do?
We'd rather be dead than submit to the system.
Alrighty. So I hope that streamed well enough for everyone. So Seth, my man. So I think the big question on many of our minds is what's your origin story with BitClout? How did you come across it?
Oh man, so it's actually really interesting. I had one of my biggest investors in Echo came to me and was just like, Seth, he works for a hedge fund, and he said, Seth, we got pitched this thing called BitClout. He's like, I hopped on it just to kind of see, they said it was this kind of stock market for social influencers. And he said that originally he was like, man, there's no way that was going to work. And then he signed on to it, and he said that he couldn't get off of it for like 3 days. He said he was just absolutely addicted. And he told me, he's like, Seth, you gotta, and just because he's a really good friend of mine, and he kind of knows, he was one of the first people to throw money in my movie, kind of all this stuff. But he was like, Seth, I know you're going to do this forever. So like, get into BitClout now, if you know that you're going to do this, for your entire life, you might as well jump in as soon as possible. So.
No, that's awesome. Absolutely. And it's just me, or is there a voice going over the top there? Oh no, do you know what, Seth? I've got YouTube playing in my ear in the background. It's on autoplay. I'm sitting there going, that's a spooky voice. It's actually from Breaking Bad. Sneaked in on my YouTube. So yeah, fantastic. So how long, like you were really early on, weren't you? About 80 days ago or something?
Yeah, probably around there. And I've personally, I think it's one of those things that I became addicted really quickly, right? Just because of, realistically, it's like the human interaction of it, I truly believe, is better than any social media site out there. Like the connections and the people that you meet aren't just like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem as hollow as these other ones. It's not about Instagram and creating an image and all that type of stuff. For some reason, this one just seems a lot more pure. And honestly, it was those connections that kept on making me come back and just wanting to post. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm hooked. I'm in for the long game, dude. I think it's going to be great. And, it's funny because every now and then, Patrick Schwarzenegger reaches out, and, some of those actors, and I've been plugging it on BitClout. So like, they know about it for sure. And, if they were to hop on, that would just be such a huge pull. So I've definitely been plugging it.
That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. And so what's the general feedback you get from them when you talk about it to them?
It's mixed. It depends on who you're talking to. You know what I mean? Like Patrick, since Patrick Schwarzenegger is an investor, he totally gets it, And the biggest kind of question that everyone has is like, all right, how do you sell it? Right? What's the exit plan? How do you kind of do that? Which is kind of something that, like, personally, that's not my strategy, right? To like exit. So like, I really haven't even looked at those options on, even if that is, like, I know there were a few people who kind of like had, like platforms that they created for it, but I don't really know even if you could sell it. So I probably do need to get a little bit more educated on that,
So at the moment, like, what is your thoughts for it, like long term? Are you thinking much about where it's heading, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's also unbelievable. I've never seen so many small time or big time investors in one place in my life. Which, from someone who like had to raise every single dollar to make Echo Boomers, like I had to raise every single one of those dollars myself. And I had to find every $10,000 was pretty much a different person. And yeah, I had some big fish come in and help me actually get the movie made. But like, I look at BitCloud as something that could really help like creators like me actually get their movies made a lot quicker. And luckily Echo worked out, and Echo's in the green and kind of all that great stuff that comes with making a good movie. But like, I just kind of wish that it was easier to start with. And I think this has given filmmakers, really good filmmakers, a kind of chance to do that, you know? Like, I can't wait for the day that like Bitcoin funds its first movie.
Well, man, I hope it's going to be you that's heading that one up. And there's a good chance when you're being this early.
Totally, man. Yeah. And I wonder, it's really the things that work are the things that the community gets behind, right? And you can see the people who they really get behind. And so I think it's just kind of one of those things of like just kind of getting it out there and kind of laying that groundwork. And that's really what I'm trying to do right now, is just lay that groundwork, kind of meet those connections. And like, ever since I hopped on BitCloud, even the views of Echo have gone up, and I've been posting about it. And even Universal's calling, saying that, they're getting more streams because of this and that, which is kind of cool.
That's pretty epic to see BitCloud actually having a real world effect that we can actually measure and see now. That's incredible, huh? And to think it's like 100 days. 100 days.
Isn't that wild? Not even a year.
Yeah. Right. And it's like BitCloud, it's a bit like dog years, right? BitCloud years. Right. I think we've been going for about 3 years, in 100 days. Yeah. The innovation. No, this is something that I'm super excited about, Seth. And what I love seeing you embrace it so much, because there's always got to be the brave ones, the ones that are willing to kind of trust in their vision. And, seeing how BitCloud, it's really letting people vote with their influence. They get to give their influence to the people that they believe in and what they see. So it means, when a film makes it funded by BitCloud, or, in that sense, then it's going to be a film that people wanted. It's going to be a film that people are really, believing in the vision. And that's something that you said, I see in because I went and I started watching Echo Boomers a second time. Now, I don't watch many movies twice unless there's a bit of a space, but I thought, well, I'm going to be jumping on an interview. I want to watch a second time. And even within the first half hour, I noticed all these little details that I hadn't noticed the first time. And I started seeing how much actual vision you have when you create this movie. So, what is your process with that? Like with Echo Boomers, where did that idea come from?
Oh man, so that one's a pretty wild story. I mean, I actually had seen these articles about these kids that were doing this in Chicago and back in 2012. So it was a while ago. And, it was kind of like scattered throughout newspapers, and the news really wasn't talking about it. And I started doing research on these guys, and eventually these guys ended up getting caught. But it really kind of inspired me to kind of take their story of just like kids who played by the rules and went to college and got those degrees, and they felt cheated. You know what I mean? They felt like they, were $200,000 in debt and all this stuff. And it kind of inspired me to create this story. And this story is relevant because, like, the thing that I find most interesting and that I really love is that when I look at the reviews, it's like, people who get it. And the people that don't like it, they don't like it for the right reason. They don't like it because they hate the characters, and they should hate the characters. Like, that's pretty much the whole point of the film, right? It's that they're spoiled, and that kind of all these things that make them horrible. Like, you want to root for them, but I wanted to create these characters that lived in the gray space. Like, as humans, we're not good or bad. You know what I mean? Like, we live in this gray space, and I wanted to create characters like that. And when people tell me that they hated some of these characters, like, they should. Some of them are really shitty fucking people. And, that's just kind of how the story went. And so, it's funny that when you look at those kind of reviews, audiences love it and critics hate it, which I just find like amazing,
I mean, that can't be the biggest, it's got to be the biggest compliment, right?
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I was thinking as you were sharing that, man, it's like BitCloud is almost like the perfect place for Echo Boomers to really find a home, right? And to come out in and to be a nice calling card for you when you start. Because I mean, how many people, and throw in the chat if you resonate with this, but how many people, are on BitCloud because, it's like a breath of fresh air, an opportunity for those that didn't get it in the old world, the post-war boomers kind of locked down all the low-hanging fruit. You know, it's kind of, the world got very hard for everyone that tried to do the right thing. I mean, we got so many developers in the room right now, you know, that are finally getting a chance to prove themselves, you know, in this world on BitCloud. So absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I think that, you know, I think that this movie, it got pretty good distribution, but, you know, it should have gotten more. And I think it was one of those things, it's like, you know, we released during quarantine, which was just like a huge thing because, and I think in a weird way, it was a blessing in disguise because we were going to be up against James Bond and Wes Anderson that weekend. So like we would have gotten crushed without a doubt, you know what I mean? But I think it was truly a blessing to just kind of get to distribute it during COVID when everyone's using video on demand and kind of all those things. And Roku just made it their first exclusive Roku film, so it's free on Roku now.
Awesome.
And yeah, man, it's been good. We're and you know, I'm really approaching BitCloud on like how to incorporate. Like I really believe that this community really does support people in a way that I've never seen before. And so like I want those people that support me on BitCloud, like I want those people around me, whether it's extras in films or, you know what I mean, even if it's just like weirdly enough like an opinion on a script. You know what I mean? Because I've really been thinking about that of like the next, because I did the extras thing where 10 people are going to get to be extras at the top of next year. But I also think something that could be really cool too is just kind of like incorporating those coin users that really want to, those coin holders that really want to be a part of it, like sending them scripts, you know, kind of letting them show, like it be a conversation of like, hey man, I don't know what I really think about this scene. This is kind of where I'm going. Do you think it accomplished that? You know, because these guys really support each other, which I find fucking awesome, dude. Like it's, you know, you can't even find that in real life, you know?
Right. There's so many superficial layers of like these agreements in society that kind of just fuck with that purity of connection, right? Where we can just see each other eye to eye. You know, it's like only on BitCloud do I get to sit here with you who's just created this epic movie, you know, filmmaking, all the rest. And as I think I've said to you in a couple of messages, you know, childhood dream was to be an actor, performer, and, you know, life has its way. And now here we are, you know, BitCloud's brought us together. I get to interview. I would love to be involved in, you know, seeing your scripts and all that kind of gear. And, you know, it's amazing how you're actually, essentially, you know, you're working as a great proof of concept, you know, of how this can work and exploring it. You know?
Yeah, you know, another thing that I was thinking too, which could be really fun, is getting the community's opinion on specific actors and which ones to cast, because that could be really fun too. You know what I mean? Like going into, you know, these next kind of few projects I have, it would just be fun to say like, hey, these are the two actors I'm thinking. This is the type of role. What does BitCloud think? Just to kind of see, you know, kind of what the community, how they reacted to it, and you know, kind of all that stuff.
Even as you say that, Seth, there's so many opportunities for win-win-win on BitCloud. That's what I'm loving. Is like when you take that centralized kind of, you know, one that just takes the flesh from everyone, you know, it's like all of a sudden it's like, because I'm thinking, you know, the community get to win because they get to be engaged and entertained in all these different ways. You get to win because you get good feedback from people who are going to be your audience and all the rest and engage in that community. And then you've also got like these opportunities for, you know, using this promotion. I mean, I'm sure it would get a lot of attention if all of a sudden, you know, you're putting it out there saying, well, let's see who gets in my movie kind of thing. Don't know if you're going to take it that far, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I really think that it's just kind of, you're right. There's so much upside for it to be a win-win-win. And, you know, I'm really trying to figure out what is that story that I could have like really BitCloud be the head of funding. You know what I mean? And what would really be cool too is that like, if you really did do a movie where you found a really good script and you kind of left it all up to BitCloud of like, these are the three actors I'm thinking, you know, BitCloud's going to fund it. The coin holders are going to get to pick what actors are going to be in it, kind of all these things, and kind of taking it to an extreme level. But I mean, I really think BitCloud would lose its shit over something like that. You know what I mean? Everyone would be involved, which would be cool.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I could imagine the waves that would make out in the world as well. You know?
Yeah. Hollywood is such a boys club. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes in a very negative way. And I wonder how it would go over. You know what I mean? I think that it would be a great wave to create. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure everyone in the community would be feeling the same way. Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
So I also wanted to bring in here that there's one quote from the movie I really wanted to share here. It's you okay if I share it? It's lesson number 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It shouldn't give away any story in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it was lesson number 4. Experiences are better than bank statements.
That's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Yeah. That hit home really solid on that second round watching it. And it made me think of BitClout, right? It's like, that's really what we're trading, right? We're trading experiences.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. And that's funny. I didn't even connect those two things. You know what I mean? But you're totally right. That represents BitClout so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So on BitClout, what are some of the what do you say? What's some of the best memories you've got so far in the 100 days, or your best connections or entertaining moments?
Yeah, like there's that first like week window where you're just kind of like shocked by it all, right? You're so amazed by it, which is really good. But then you start like really diving down those holes, and I think we used that same like the witch lady who told fortune. It's
Jesus,
like,
man, yeah.
You see these things that are just like, oh my God, like people have really thought of everything. And it's kind of refreshing to see, I don't know, people hustle, like that lady was, she's just some random witch in New Orleans who's on BitClout, which I find kind of beautiful that she's kind of turned to BitClout. But yeah, man, it's really interesting to see how other people engage, and it's really interesting to, what's one of the top 10? His name is Jake Duvel.
Jake Udell?
Yeah. So he saw my coin, threw in a little bit, and was like, hey, dude, I would love for you to just talk to this up and coming screenwriter for me. I think he's got great ideas. Would you mind hopping on the phone with him? And I was like, dude, abso-fucking-lutely. Like, let's do it, of course. And it's just kind of interesting how like majority of people on BitClout don't say no, right? They're in it to like for the experience and to try something. And I found that really beautiful,
Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's like the investment mechanisms are built for that. It creates this environment that it encourages looking for, either low cap, undervalued creators to invest in them. And then if you're invested in them, you want them to succeed. Right.
Sure.
Everyone's kind of in it, and it kind of automatically gears more of a positivity, it seems. Of course, there's
what I find kind of interesting too is like, I don't. It looks like there are a whole bunch of gadgets or widgets or kind of whatever that the people that are taking this pretty seriously are tuning into with. You know what I mean? They're seeing how much money other people are selling of certain coins, and they're watching who's going up the quickest. And, I was on BitClout maybe a week before I hit 1,000. And so like, I just found it interesting. I hit a point, I think I hit like 600 or 700. And then within maybe 40 minutes, it went up to maybe 1,400. And it's just like, I guess I'm just like, I'm not tuned in enough to see how these people are seeing all these things and how it happens so quickly. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm a step behind,
I think you feel like a lot of us, Seth. It's like trying to keep up on BitClout. It's, when I've been onboarding a few different friends and things, they come on board, and like you say, there's that first week of overwhelm where it's like, whoa, what have I? It's like going down Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I found that the best thing is just let go and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, totally. See who you bump into.
Yeah.
See who you bump into and just kind of run with it.
Right. It's kind of like the beauty of decentralization is kind of that, organic synchronicity, that magic in life that kind of gets stifled by that old world. Just it's like it's running wild and free here.
Yeah, totally. Another thing that I really, since I created Echo kind of before I got onto BitClout, I mean, like I wanted to do like for this next one, I mean, I want to get like actors, even if they're saying just like, what's up, Big Clout, you know, whatever. I want to start getting that content on there just so that it doesn't seem so strange to these people when they jump on. You know what I mean? Like Patrick Schwarzenegger, or I'm working on this one right now with Ariel Winters from Modern Family, the daughter.
Yeah.
And it's just like those things. If these people have, you know, 8 million people following them on Instagram, right? So like if they were to decide to really make that switch, the Big Clout community is so small, they create a pretty fucking huge wave, like a huge wave that really creates a ripple. And so I've really been kind of, you know, just gradually. There's another guy on here, and I don't remember his tag, but he owns Unique Pretzels.
Okay, Unique Pretzels.
And yeah, Unique Pretzels is like this kind of like high-end pretzel bag, and they're super good pretzels. And the owner of it is on Big Clout. And he reached out and said, "Hey, Seth, you know, can I send you a box?" And he sent me this beautiful box of all these pretzels. And
oh, hang on, Seth. Hang on, we've got you on mute there. Can someone get Seth?
Sorry, yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
Yeah, so he sent me this beautiful box of pretzels, whatever. And then when we started doing this other movie, he said, "Hey, you know, I would you know, I can send you some for these actors." And so he ended up sending 10 boxes of pretzels for all these actors, and all the enjoy cards. Justin is his name. Yep, that's him. You know, on the enjoy cards, you know, he wrote enjoy, and then I went on there and wrote you know, from Big Clout. And so just so that they could see this and just kind of wonder what it is and get their, you know, kind of minds running with it. But it's funny how just those little things, you know what I mean? Like these actors are walking into their trailers and they have 10 bags of pretzels and this kind of enjoy card from Big Clout, which I think is kind of cool. But
that's brilliant, man. 100%. You know, it's like just dropping those little bits around the place. You know, it's like quite a few of us now have gone and got the old symbol on us.
Oh, no way, man. That's cool.
We're in for life. But it's and I've been thinking about the same, you know, like doing even just out in the public, doing like a little guerrilla QR codes type thing, you know, join the revolution or something, and just start sticking them out randomly, you know, because when people see it enough, you know, it's like before long, they're going to start asking questions.
Totally. And you know, I think it's one of those things which relates to echo boomers a little bit. It's like everyone kind of feels like a misfit, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And everyone kind of wants to be a part of the thing that just kind of like breaks the system just a little bit, you know? And that's kind of what I feel like Big Clout is, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, it's the other quote that kind of jumped at me was, "If they won't let us dream, we won't let them sleep."
Oh,
you know,
isn't that a good one, man?
That was fire, man. And then that spoke to me kind of like, because in a way, it really spoke to that rebel inside me that through my younger years, it just couldn't fit into the normal system, which is why I've done this and why I'm so on board here, you know, is because it feels like, okay, well, you know, our idealism was always shut down, you know, for this kind of limiting madness. And it's like, well, okay, then we won't let you sleep, you know. So the young youth are always causing, you know, this chaos. And now Big Clout, I think, is making a lot of people lose sleep. You know, the more and more that, you know, Twitter and Instagram and all these different places start recognizing what's been born here and start seeing people like yourself, Seth, and like you say, when we get those other celebrities, when those other, you know, stars and actors and things start onboarding, you know, there's gonna be quite a few lose sleep over this, I think.
Oh, there will. And the thing is, you know, as long as you can keep that growth consistent, which you know, sadly enough, I just haven't had the time to really look in on Big Clout's growth. But it sounds like, you know, they're consistently kind of innovating this thing and changing the system consistently to keep it relevant, which I think is just so ridiculously important on a new social site, right? No matter what it is.
Absolutely.
And so hope, you know, I don't know, maybe you can tell me how much it's grown lately, but it seems like the communities are growing significantly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you the exact numbers, but I know we've been watching it, increasing. It seems like there's a bit of a period at the moment where it's kind of just settled. And I think also you see with the crypto market getting a bit of a hit, everything crypto related kind of almost just paces a little. But what's been amazing to watch is how BitClout has continued, even though it had a bit of a dip, it's actually sustainably continuing because people are actually seeing the value beyond just buying and selling the coin, right? So
Sure.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think we're at this point where the next wave, the next inspirations are kind of coming in. And I think it'd be great if you can get some celebrities, even just to say BitClout, or maybe people's names, for a certain investment or something.
Yeah, totally. And see, that's so doable from just like, because you get to know these actors and they become your friends, and when you tell them about something interesting like that, and Patrick particularly being the investor that he is, and this is me turning that money side on. I mean, like, I truly didn't understand the whole, BitClout is the only place where you can get a 10x on your investment or a 100x on your investment. Like if Patrick Schwarzenegger were to buy his own coin up and then jump on BitClout, I mean, the ROI for that would be, in the hundreds, which would be wild, and so with that investor mindset that he has, I think that he's, him particularly, it's only a matter of time until I bug him enough to get an account, and I'm going to be buying his coin as soon as he gets on here.
I was going to say, Seth, hope top 10 coin holders get a little notification.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. Hey, I'm just noticing we're coming up to the time for you, man. But
I'm still on set.
Really appreciate it.
We're actually taking a break.
Oh, you on set now?
Yeah, we are. We're doing this little movie called Pools, which is about, it's like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off type of movie, but it's about these kids that go pool hopping one night in these suburbs of Chicago, and it has Ariel Winters and it has Suzanne Cryer from Silicon Valley, and it has some pretty good ones. It's going to be a good movie.
Fantastic, man. Thanks for the preview, and thanks for taking the time, because I know that you got so much going on. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad we finally got to meet.
Yeah, likewise, and hopefully we get to see you more often as you get breaks.
Absolutely,
and
man.
touch.
Absolutely. I'd be willing to do this anytime. I love connecting with the community. Man.
Brilliant. And so for everyone watching, Seth is an he is an amazing creator and director.
Yeah, check out Echo Boomers,
and
please. Everyone check out Echo Boomers. It would mean like the world to me for you guys to watch it. So please do so.
Excellent. Make sure to share it out there. And if you're looking for a safe investment, I think, Seth, you're one of the solid ones, that's for sure.
Thanks, brother.
This is not financial advice. All right, man. Have fun.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
Take care, brother. All righty. Well, thanks everyone for joining in on that session. It's got a bit of time now. We can just open it up.
Hello.
Ayla.
How are you? We're BitClout brothers or Eskimo brothers, right?
So we call Eskimo brothers?
Do you know what that means in your people's language? Okay, so an Eskimo brother is like when you and your buddy have both had sex with the same girl.
Real quick, let's not forget that live is on.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, real fast before we go on.
Okay. That's my life.
For you, I'm just saying, for everybody else that's in here, live is still going.
Hi, then. I'll just
still alive
myself.
I was going to say, should we continue the conversation and Ayla, we can just open up, or should we cut it there? Any takers? Who's the host?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed watching the trailer. I really enjoy seeing other people benefit from the platform in the same way that I'm hoping to benefit from it, and them getting success from it, and it actually being really high quality. That was really cool.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, Justin's a great guy too from Unique Snacks. He's so cool. Met him in New York City, and actually going to be sitting down and doing a meeting with him with the up and coming Carol Baskin episode that we're doing. and some other stuff. And I think that he is surrounded with some really great people, because if you think about it, it could be any product, really. It's just a product. And here he is meeting great people that he can implement his product and they can implement, and everyone builds something.
Absolutely. It's genius how it's all kind of playing together, huh? Can you put that in the chat again, Ayla?
What's that? His information.
I thought it was awesome getting to meet him.
Yeah, Justin is cool.
I thought it was awesome getting to meet him as well.
I'm terrible at last names.
Xander.
Justin Spanish.
Is it when did you have the controls? Could you take me off the pinned bit? Because I'm not sure if is that just showing me? I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, oops, sorry about that, guys.
Or maybe that's just me.
It's still recording, huh?
All right, there we go.
I should always be muted from the recording.
Nice. So I guess before we close off the segment around Seth, is there anyone else who wants to chime in with some comments and thoughts around, not just Seth, but also just, film, directing, creatives?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was awesome for him to come in here. I've been learning how to edit stuff and make videos as well. So it's very good to see what he knows and his background, and just to learn that, just because I've been so intrigued with it lately. So it's very awesome to be able to be here for that. And I'm glad you got to bring him on.
Excellent, Xander. Yeah, definitely check out Echo Boomers, because he's, I think it was Seth that was saying on one of his other podcasts that it's
Echo Boomer, right? ECOBOMMER?
Yeah, with S at the end. Echo Boomers.
Okay.
So it's like boomers, but the echo of the old boomer generation.
Yeah.
But it's worth checking. It's like Seth was saying in another podcast, it's kind of like a cross between a Ocean's 11 mixed with Fight Club kind of style to the whole thing. And it's very stylized. I love the way he's cut it. It's very punchy. It flows beautifully. So definitely worth watching and studying for editing, that's for sure. Yeah.
I'm just letting it out there. My girl watched the what do you call that? The preview, the trailer, and she thoroughly enjoyed it and can't wait for the movie to come out. So I'll be posting that on here. How she's not even on BitClout, but through Not Your Average Call, was able to see the trailer, and now has something to look forward to other than Turkey Day.
Oh, Rory. Love it, man. And it's already out. So it was released last year and is now streaming free on Roku, which is I believe a US platform. So you can check it out for free.
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
I got a Roku. I just need to look it up.
Yeah, sweet. Definitely worth checking out.
There we
it's
go.
Good fun. Especially if you've got a bit of a good sound system, make sure you crank it up and get the bass rocking.
Yeah. You got to
Nice.
get that full theater effect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's when I saw it, it was a bit of a bummer it didn't get to the cinema because, he released obviously during COVID. It wasn't very likely to be doing any cinema work during that time. But it's one of those movies that would have been epic and will be epic if we can get it rescreened again. But yeah, no idea how that works. Nice.
So,
all right. Well, if there's any other comments, otherwise we can maybe just stop the live stream and open up and just have some fun together.
What kind of fun?
Ayla, the best kind.
I'm just kidding.
where you get to tell us the story.
I'm having, oh God, no, not one of those. No. Not that, if this is going to be that kind of party, never mind. We're still recording. Name that song.
Andrew, you're here. I was going to say, I'm not sure if Seth is actually the first director. I meant to say there, because I don't know who came first, but
he's
Andrew,
not. We do different. I'm a producer. He's a director, so we do different.
Of course.
He can.
Did you want to jump on for a bit?
He can take the credit.
Producer, Andrew?
Yeah. He can take the credit for the first director. I can probably take the credit for the first movie producer or television producer. Not Isla, the type like. I'm not trying to take it from you.
Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant TV show.
You may produce. You're going to produce the first BitClout TV.
And also Confederacy of Dunces. I'm going to do the film.
That's right. We're making that. I'm going to help you with that.
Mike Goldberg wants to help too, and that's why I know it is absolutely. but we'll talk about that another time.
I like it. But Mark, I caught some of the conversation. I was dealing with my wife with some stuff, but I enjoyed what I heard, certainly.
Oh, fantastic. And how do you feel? And you feel like sharing a little bit about your experience as a producer on BitCloud, or are you?
No, I mean, it's my experience on BitCloud is still one of learning and watching. And I am neither, as a movie producer and a television producer, I mean, I am a creator, but I'm not a creator in the way that Seth is, or the way that the different sorts of artists are here and such. And again, I create every day, but not like in a tangible posting on BitClout kind of way. So my experience, and nor am I a whale investor. I came in with the amount of money I was willing to lose and put some in myself and put some in some others. And I wish I had a couple more dollars to sort of move around. But as some of you have heard in Nacho, I've got a 17-year-old who's got to go to college. But I'm in, so far I've sort of really enjoyed BitClout for the everything from the connection to the social experiment status of it. Like the last 24 hours have been fascinating. And it's funny, I hold probably $100 worth of Raj that I bought early and then just forgot about it. And I just like, and I have no opinion, and nor do I want to start a discussion about him. I just mean that like, I wasn't around last night on Nacho because I had like a 2-hour conversation with William Laurent, just shooting the shit and catching up one-on-one. And I've enjoyed that. I got together with Alina Ferry last weekend and went for a walk, and I'm going to pop by the thing here in LA. But what I do, I feel like, and what as a movie producer and a TV producer, and look, what a lot of us do in our different fields is it's a business of networking. It's a business of relationships. That's what I do. Like, I don't have the whale status or the relationships, let's say on BitClout and the people that started BitClout that like a Jake Udell does. But there's aspects of what Jake Udell do and what I do that are the same thing. And, you know, it's in his music management business, and the other things that he's done, not so much. But I've enjoyed, you know, I've spent a lot of time here on Nacho. I've come and gone, and I'm getting a little busy. I have a few movies that I'm going to shoot this year, and hopefully I'll be able to pop in. But I've enjoyed the connection. I've enjoyed the community. And I think that a lot of people have heard me say, I think that it's very, very early. I heard some of the chat before that Chet and Clay did, and I've had a lot of good times with them in Nacho and listening to them, and smart people. And I think we're really early. Like, I don't know if it's influencers and celebrities are two different things, in my opinion, in my sort of the way I look at the field. And I think BitClout's a place that influencers can have some real value or some real amplification now. I mean, I don't mean value in coin price. I mean value in amplification of BitClout. I'm not sure that I would invite celebrities on here yet. I don't know if, I might invite celebrities to invest, but I think that the level of engagement that this platform has so far expected of its members is probably more than I think some people can handle. And I'd be loath to like bring a celebrity on too early and have them lose interest. Whereas when I think if it continues to grow, they can come on and see that and be a part of it and not sort of feel the pressure of it. I think if that makes sense, that's sort of been I have very consciously not sort of reached out to any actor friends and said, hey, you should come on this. We've talked about it. We've, you know, a few artist friends I'd like to get on, but they've just been too busy. But I love it here. I mean, I like community.
Yeah, we love you in the community, Andrew. It's like the Nacho call is it's one of the things I love about this room, right? Is we get, you know, it's like, you know, an incredible producer like yourself together with all these other people that are incredible in their own rights, and all kind of a place where we all come together, you know, talk about equality. I think Nacho Average creates it beautifully in the community where we get to meet, right? And, you know, I think you're right, Andrew, with what you're saying. It's one, I know we're so keen to get the adoption happening and get people over and get the action happening, you know, that on one level, it's like, you know, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, you know, bring on all the big characters, like, oh, you know, imagine Russell Brand on here, you know, ranting away and all the rest. And yeah, we message, etc. Right. But at the same time, like, you know, it is that sensitivity of when you, it's like when you give birth to a new baby, you know, you don't take that baby and run out into the city and show it to everyone. You know, you give it a little bit of time to kind of build up its immune system and to get stronger and grounded in its body. And then slowly you start welcoming in the close family, and then you start welcoming the extended relatives until eventually it's ready to go out to the world. And I kind of feel, you know, Big Clout's a bit like that right now. You know, it's this beautiful baby. We're all here as the midwives, you know, bringing it in and making sure that it is ready, because if those kinds of characters started coming over, you could imagine the influx and it could get very interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of what I've seen here, there's an element to BitClout that I feel like that requires or demands or hopes for a special sort of amount of your time, a sort of dedicated special BitClout sort of thing. You know, Plug, not a movie that I produced, but Plug, my partner's Kevin Hart movie, is on Netflix right now. It's called Fatherhood. It came out this weekend, it's hugely successful. Like Kevin Hart is
Oh man,
what? Wait,
I just
Drew,
watched that last night, man. It was really good.
Dude, Drew, go back again.
Dumb.
What's your relation with that? That's awesome.
My business partner, whose movies I often produce, but in this case I did not, because other friends of mine were producing it. A movie called Fatherhood, directed by or starring Kevin Hart, that's on Netflix right now, and it was huge this week. It was the #1 movie in 70 countries. My point of this, other than Plug, go watch it. It's a good movie. You'll cry, you'll laugh. Is Kevin Hart is a social media god. He's not an influencer, he's an actor. He and The Rock and all these things. But like there's an element like, and I do know Kevin Hart, but not in a long time. But I would never expect him to understand sort of how this would work, because he doesn't have the time to dedicate a special BitClout attention. And I think BitClout doesn't want the same stuff he posts on Instagram, and doesn't want the same stuff he posts in different places.
Exactly.
It wants something special. And
exactly.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to get people, and that'll either. Sorry, go ahead, Isla.
I'm literally setting up Zoom calls with influencers and celebrities with my friend, with the whole reality people, because I want to make sure that they come on, or their managers of their social media come on and understand what the platform is, so that it is well done. Because it is, they do, some of them try to come on and they try to post the stuff and they're like, why aren't I getting the attention? But it's not the attention, it's not the same at all. And they don't have the time. They don't even run their own social medias. This
Correct.
is a whole world.
Correct.
Even, yeah, like Mario, I just interviewed him. He's like, what people need to understand is like, I have a whole world outside of BitClout, and I want the BitClout community to understand I care. I do, but I do not have the time. I did not set up my life for just BitClout. And some of us do, and some of us have, but we have to understand that like, this is different. This is different.
And I think probably for some sorts of celebrities who don't have the time, it might need to be the next phase of what BitClout is, when it's a little more established. And again, only my opinion, not financial advice, not asking anyone to join at this point. But it's like, I think that for me to talk to celebrities about coming on, it would have to be like, I don't think I could explain to them in a way that they would understand, in a way that would get them excited about it this early. By the way, I'd tell them to put a couple grand in a BitClout, go buy some BitClout, watch it grow. Then you'll see, oh shit, maybe if I came to the site or came to a node, or there might be something. I mean, again, this is my tech understanding is very limited, but bitclout.com is simply a node on with which this sort of system is built. I barely understand blockchain. We all talk about it all the time, but like, I'm just trying to listen and learn. But there's so many nodes that can exist, as I understand it. We've only tapped the surface. What can become a movie? Like, we could create a node for marketing movies. We create a node special for a movie. I mean, there's all these things that I will never do because I can't do it. Look, I don't see anyone here right now, but we've had these conversations with a couple of our friends with, Madam Fetish or Cake Cupcake. Like, someone needs to start an adult node. We're not going to get into that in the live, but like there's just so many things that need to come. And I think we're a little bit away from that stuff. But eventually, I think those celebrities, when they can understand it and really grasp it, it's not. And the gamification, they're gonna be past that. Like the gamification will play itself out, or maybe they'll come on and they'll play some games, and people will dig it, and they'll take the risk and roll the dice. I mean, Raj's game doesn't work for me because I don't understand the freaking math. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Some people got burnt. Like it's, and again, we don't need to discuss it. We don't need to debate it. I just think that the future is bright, but I think we're not on the long tail. We're in the early. Just the tip of the snout, I guess, of the pig that is Big Cloud. That is not a good. I love pork. So that's, to me, a pig is a really joyous animal, but I don't know if that'll play when people rewatch this.
I think it'll go down in history. I think Hologram's got a good point here. Like he says, that BitCloud is a temporary ticket entrance. The protocol is what allows you to participate in everything else. And what you're saying there, Andrew, I agree. I think, I'm going to be doing a little talk / presentation on Thursday night around the same time, talking about, what BitCloud is as a blockchain, because it's not, the bitcloud.com is just a proof of concept. It's just one way of using the blockchain, right? And like you say, when we start doing these nodes, you start, specializing, all of a sudden people can much easier find each other, their groups, see the content they want, rather than it being in this one platform. And making it for films. I know I've got a community of, people that work with, spirituality, self-empowerment, contemplation. We want to bring them all on. We've got, Gene Keys is the company. They're already on board. I've got them on there. And now it's just finding out how can we create a place where they can come in and engage with each other without getting lost in the blockchain side of it and the crypto side of it. And so that's where I feel you as well, where, there's people that I can get on board, but they're on hold at the moment until the platform's kind of feels more ready for that next wave.
Because you don't want them to burn out. You want people to come in. I mean, there are people that we've been around for 3 months. People have already burnt out in a variety of ways. Look, there's an article in the New York Times this past weekend that I almost posted on the chain, but I don't know. I guess a link, you can certainly post a link, but if you're not a subscriber to the New York Times, I don't know if it would come up. It was about Twitch, and it was about musicians monetizing their Twitch stream. And I know about gamers monetizing their Twitch stream. My son is not on there, but he follows video gamers. He watches video gamers. But it was like literally like people, musicians, some known musicians. This guy goes on, he plays for 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day, same window of time. He's in a known heavy metal band or punk band. I don't remember what it was. And sometimes he teaches a class. Sometimes he takes requests. He interacts with his fans. That's what this can be. That's what this can be too. I just think we're early. It's going to take some time. It's going to take, someone, figuring out how to create that. And again, that band could create their own nodes. So instead of giving some money to Twitch and some money in their own pocket, but it's who's going to be the first one to do it? Who's going to show that can be done? And I think that will just take some time, and hopefully we can. I mean, my belief is we can hang on. I think the other thing, and then I'll be done because I didn't come in to dominate any discussion by any means, is what's interesting about this, and people could probably tell me that I'm wrong about this, is it generally does not. History has stated or has shown that it does not pay to be first, and by that I mean we don't have Friendster, we don't have MySpace, we have Facebook. We don't have, we still have yahoo.com. We still have whatever, netscape.com. And he sold it off, made $1 billion. Now he's VC. But so my fear with BitCloud, and again, maybe BitCloud isn't the first, because I know when it came out, there were a lot of other things. And maybe the fact that it's blockchain means that it's not about being first, because bitcloud.com can go in the garbage. We can create new things. That's the whole idea here. But my fear has been that someone builds a better mousetrap in a year, because someone looks at what we've done and they go, they've done really good things, let's do our own. And again, I don't want that to happen. I don't believe it'll happen. We need to keep the flame burning brightly enough so that someone doesn't come in and rip. I mean, all Steve Jobs ever did was all these guys ripped each other off. They ripped each other off. They were innovators. They were design geniuses. But Microsoft and Apple just ripped each other off. So I've had that fear, that the community needs to stay strong enough and needs to grow incrementally enough so that someone doesn't come in and just sort of ape the whole thing. And again, maybe that doesn't happen, because aping it means you just create a new thing on the blockchain.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, Andrew. And hey, I want to say thank you for taking the time as well to join in, because you're not taking over, you're actually fitting in beautifully. I was meaning to actually get in touch with you to kind of, possibly sync up something, but life just got too busy. But I was thinking of you regularly when organizing with Seth, because I thought how perfect, to have you both. And so having you jump in after that, you're the perfect guest.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I mean, you've seen me enough on Nacho. I like to talk, so happy to anytime.
When you're not busy, we need to schedule and see if we can get you on the podcast after Carol, so I can get some major traction for your episode, and you as well, Mark. I didn't know you actually spoke.
Yeah, it's nice getting to know you more.
It's a funny thing about it. Like I was on when Mark did his session with Clay. Like it's certainly Nacho averages a lot about timing. There's obviously a few of us, and I've seen you a lot in the mornings when I take my morning walk, as Hologram pointed out. But like being here in the beginning, there was a lot of people, and I see lots of people that have been here from the beginning, and then there's new people, and then sometimes you've been a regular, but you're not at the same time as Mark because he's in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's fun. It's fun to see everybody, and I'm seeing new faces every time I pop on, and I've not been able to stay on as much as in the past, but again, it's a great community. And I think someone said in the chat, like when it gets a little testy, I just peace out and head out and let people do their thing, because I respect this is a safe place to do your thing unless you cross a line. But I will choose sometimes to pop out. But it's been great. I love it here.
Absolutely. And I think that's the important thing, Andrew, like here on BitClout and with everything, is that we make space for the turbulence, and we don't try to stifle it to keep it, forced positivity, but rather organically, when things happen, we can work through them, and we don't need to stick around if we're not involved in it. And we can continue to just, grow more positivity in our own natural way, and just share the creativity.
And we all need
a little bit of fire.
We all need help and support. Like that's all of us. None of us, nothing's easy for anybody. I mean, some aspects of things might be, but we all need help. We all need support, and we should recognize that sometimes.
It's fucking beautiful. Wait, we're still live. I was going to say it's beautiful though, because it is in those moments of vulnerability for the first time in so long in this group that like you feel safe, and it's scary as hell, but it's the safest place to be vulnerable. And then everyone does want to pick you back up because you were there to pick someone else up the day they needed it when you're just chilling.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Had the ability to help in some small way, and it's just a give and take.
And it means a lot of things. Look, I don't know. It's sometimes we're supporting each other with money. Sometimes we're supporting each other with emotional support. I wasn't here when Flick Sparks talked about what he was going through, but and I don't need to know. What I know is that I saw support from the community, and that's great. And again, there's a therapeutic aspect or a therapy aspect to Nacho that is, kind of cool. And sometimes we're talking about the nodes and building things, and I just sit here blankly and stare.
But really what we're talking about are the 5 languages of love.
Oh, Isla, you're so good.
We are, because there are sometimes the gifts are needed. Sometimes it's just time. Sometimes it's words of affirmation. Like we can't touch each other, but yet we do,
I agree. All right, cool.
Acts of service.
Thank you, Mark.
Clout.
On that beautiful note, and I think that's what this is all about in the end, Alice. So thanks for bringing it back in. I think we'll close the session in the forum official side. And Wendy, if you want to hit the stop stream on that. And I just want to say thanks to everyone for taking part in it. Andrew, thank you so much. Big shout out to Seth. And I think if you weren't aware already, I mean, I think a lot of people watching this will now be stoked to see that, there's very real creatives that are here that are, on all different levels. And the future of BitClout, there's going to be turbulences, there's going to be challenges to overcome, but all good things have that. And it's looking promising. It's looking very, very promising. Beautiful. All right. Well, that's
wake Wendy up. Wake Wendy up. How do we get Wendy to shut it down?
Can I swear yet?
No, it's still up. Just see in the top
I'm just kidding.
Hold on. Let's see if she's checking her chat.
So if you're still watching the live stream, this is the beauty of self-organized presentations.
Who can play some music? Rome can play some music.
I can play some music?
I mean, he's a DJ. I don't know who's got control.
I can try. We can see. Let's see. I don't know if y'all, get into the type of shit I do.
We can talk about the subtle nuances of styrofoam.
Let's I'm about to say we have don't we have a DJ of some sort in here?
Well, Chet sometimes.
Kashi?
Yeah, it depends who it is.
Oh, Kashi fell asleep. Yeah, Kashi had to go to sleep. Okay, my bad.
We could just do a Wendy chant, and maybe because I think she'll be at work, we can just get her attention. Let's go, Wendy.
Someone can text
Wendy.
I love how she falls asleep. She's adorable.
But it must be like two in the afternoon.
No, that's Wild
I was gonna
Dog.
say, between
Wild Dog.
if you think about it, between Wendy, Clay, Conchi, and Xander, who are always on, one of those four, like that's a global shift that they're really doing there.
It's incredible. Hey, hologram.
So it's appreciated, guys. Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so if you're still tuning into the live stream, like this is how beautiful is this that we have these volunteers all around the world.
Where is your live
this
stream?
24/7.
Yeah, where is it? Is it on YouTube?
The live stream is on Clock Forum on YouTube.
Go to the top. If I don't know what apparatus you're on, but on my computer and I'm on a laptop, on the top left it says live on custom live streaming. You can hit or go to that link that Mark just put in. But you can go to that link and there. I only ever saw
on the live stream. Figure out the live stream.
It's the smartest thing I've ever seen in my life. How easy.
Oh, that's great.
It just looked like one of those things that says we're collecting cookies of some sort. Ignore that stuff.
All right.
Well, let me subscribe to
you.
Let's see. Has anyone else got hosting? Maybe Clay.
Can y'all hear that?
Are you there, brother?
Co-host on that?
Paul, are you there?
No.
Maybe one of the co-hosts.
I love us. Look at us, all adorable on YouTube and stuff.
Oh man.
Hear that? No.
Rome, your face.
Hey, can you hear that though?